Today I'm going to talk about what happened when my video accidentally went viral on TikTok. And why it, as you know from the title, ended up ruining my life. Let's get on with it. As you know, my Instagram right now is about health and wellness and books, but my Instagram was not about that at one point. In fact, I used to not even post on Instagram. I didn't care about Instagram, and my primary posting place was TikTok. For those of you that don't know, I had a secret account called Gossipia on TikTok, which blew up a couple months after I went into grade 11. And it completely changed my life for better and for worse. Let's start from the beginning. Grade 11, I moved schools for IB. I was in a new school. I felt like a freshman again, even though I was in my junior year. But honestly, that didn't affect me very much because I was really happy that I had moved schools. And at this time, I was in recovery from something pretty awful that I'm not gonna get into right now. But I was recovering, and I was finally in a better state of mind after not being that way for over a year. And, experiencing life for what it was. I genuinely wanted to live and experience life for what it had to offer now. So I was really excited about coming to a new school and doing IB. I was also in the biggest I don't give enough mode of my life because after I had reached the lowest point in my life, I genuinely didn't care about things. Like, if you look at me now, you might say, oh, she's confident and she knows what she's talking about. But trust me, I care about what people think now. Back then in grade 11, I was truly, that was the only time in my life where I genuinely didn't care about what people said. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because it ties in with what happens later. So, as I started IB, I was crazy excited, motivated, focused. Every day was new, and I was having a lot of fun. Nobody knew who I was, and I loved that. I loved that so much because I was completely anonymous. Nobody knew, nobody cared. In my old school, it had kids from my elementary school, and everybody knew everyone, and everybody knew each other's past, and I didn't want that. I wanted a fresh start. It was like getting a clean slate and a fresh start, and that felt amazing. So I was able to reconstruct myself and become whoever I wanted to be. So over here, I was trying to be the quiet but friendly and approachable kid who was outgoing but was also studious and academically focused. The epitome of an IB kid. I was trying to be a good IB kid. Then came October. I don't remember what the date was. Let me check. October 23rd. I posted a video. I posted a TikTok video to my secret account, which nobody knew about right now because I didn't have people from my new school on my social media yet. And I don't think anybody knew about me at the time, right? I was a random kid. This video accidentally blew up and ended up reaching the For You pages of everybody at my new school. And it got over 1.6 million views. It felt like a bomb had dropped on my academic life, and it completely disrupted my life afterwards. My life has not been the same after this video was uploaded. When I say everybody saw that video, I mean everybody saw that video. I remember I posted it on a Saturday, and it just instantaneously just started going up, and it was getting tens of thousands of views, and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. At that time, not many people were commenting that much on it, but then I started seeing comments from my school, and people were asking, is this, insert my school name, oh my gosh, that's my school, and people were just commenting about my school, and these comments had thousands of likes. Everybody knew about it because one, I'm pretty sure I'm really mad at TikTok for this. I'm pretty sure TikTok sent that video out to everybody in my school on purpose because TikTok uses geolocation. But see, the thing is, I don't live near my school, so I don't understand why this was getting on the For You pages of everybody at my school. Because I'm pretty sure they did it based off of the target location. So basically I showed a little bit of my school. I didn't show the name or anything, but I did show the inside of my school in the video, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why TikTok started sending it out to people. And then also once a few people from my school came across the video on their For You page, then they started sending it to their friends like crazy, like, oh my gosh, this is our school, look, this is a person from our school. Like, everybody was excited about that. And as a result, them sending that video to everybody caused it to start blowing up because it was getting a lot of shares. And then also because TikTok saw this is a theory, I think because TikTok saw a lot of traction and engagement coming from this specific area, this specific region, like where most kids were living in that area close to the school, right, it started sending the video out to everybody in that region. And oh my goodness, it makes me so mad. It made me so scared that this happened. Because quite literally within 2 days, I was on the For You pages of everybody. People who I hadn't met yet, people who I was going to meet later in sports teams and clubs that I was going to join, those people had already seen my video. So by the time I met them later on, they already had these preconceived notions of me. The first impression they got of me hadn't been from me myself. It had been from TikTok and from other people who had talked about me around school. So that kind of sucked, and that really made me feel insecure and very self-conscious, because obviously when there's people talking about you behind your back, whether it's for good or bad, whether they were complimenting my TikTok or saying shit about me, I don't know, and I can't know, because everybody was just different, reacted to the video differently, and it started really messing with my head because I didn't know what people were saying about me. This really distracted me from my academic goals and my academic life, and this is why I kind of am lying towards the TikTok ruined my life, because it did ruin my academic life at the time. Like, imagine yourself, you come into IB thinking, I'm embarking on this really cool journey, and I'm pushing myself, and I'm doing something that is hard. I was nervous, I was stressed, IB was cool, but it was also scary, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, bam! Not only did I have the stress from IB, but I had this additional external stress of people judging me and seeing my videos and me showing up on everybody's For You pages. Obviously, you're gonna get distracted if your phone starts to go ping, 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 ping in class. Like, I distinctly remember sitting in history class, and my phone started to vibrate weirdly, and even though my bell sounds were off, and this girl was sitting next to me, and my phone was facing upwards, so she kept looking down at it, and eventually I picked up my phone, and I saw all of these notifications on Instagram. Like, my Instagram was blowing up. The video was also blowing up on Instagram, not nearly to the extent that it did on TikTok, but it was still getting a lot of views, and then also people were sending me messages. Like, that was the biggest thing. I didn't understand how big this was until I started getting a lot of messages from people saying that they loved my videos and, oh my gosh, you're my favorite creator. And I was like, huh? Wait, what are you talking about? I just posted a dumb little vlog of myself procrastinating, and I'm now suddenly your favorite creator? I genuinely could not comprehend it. I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong. I'm really, really grateful for the fact that this happened, but I did not expect any of that to happen, right? People were following me from TikTok. Basically, after people saw that video on TikTok, they were then following my Instagram. So I started gaining a following on Instagram too. And I gained followers so quickly on TikTok. It's like within 2 months, I think I went from like 4,000 to like 50,000 followers. And then I got close to 95,000 followers. I got to about 95,000 followers just basically because of one video. That just kept blowing up again and again. Yeah, it felt like my phone was possessed, and like in the grand scheme of things, it distracted me so much from my work because I was suddenly getting tons of messages from people. I was getting tons of emails because I'd left my email in my TikTok bio, again, just for fun, right? I didn't expect anything to happen, and then all of a sudden I'm getting like dozens of emails on my phone, and my phone's going off in class. You know, if I muted my notifications on Instagram, I was then getting notifications from Gmail. What was people's reaction to this, you may wonder? After ending up at everybody's For You pages at school, I started receiving a lot of stares from people in school. People came up to me. Some people were very upfront. They'd be like, hey, oh my gosh, you were on my For You page. And I was like, that's cool. I love those types of people, by the way. Like, they're just so honest and upfront about it. Like, hey, I was stalking your account all day last night. I love it when people say that. I mean, it's a little creepy, but who doesn't do that, right? And the fact that you're openly admitting it, I love that. So I'm really grateful. If you were one of those people who said that, thank you. I appreciate that. I understand it can be hard to tell someone that you were that you were up stalking their account the night before. And I'm not sure a lot of people want to hear that either. But in my case, like, I definitely love it when people are just open and honest about whether or not they've seen my social media profiles already. So there were people who came up to me and talked to me and were very upfront about it and were super friendly. And then there were people who were not. They just stared into the depths of my soul. And it was nerve-wracking, I kid you not, so freaking intimidating. In fact, like, when I started some sports, I ended up on the For You pages of the girls over there too. And it's like, every time I'd go to a practice, everybody would stare at me so intensely that I felt... It got to the point where I just felt uncomfortable going to practices, and then I ended up skipping a lot of them because it was not fun. It's funny because it wasn't just school. Like, the thing that irks me about this is I posted a TikTok, right? Everybody has done this at some point in their lives or has contemplated doing this. I think at some point in your life, you've probably wanted to go viral, or you've thought about yourself going viral, right? Everybody, I don't know about you, but it was my childhood fantasy. When I was younger, I wanted to be that YouTuber with a ton of subscribers at school, in high school. I wanted to be that kid. And I thought it would be fun. And it was. It was, partially, but some stuff just was not. I wasn't just getting recognized in my school, it was also outside of school. Like, I went to this business conference thing. It was all the way in Vancouver, which is pretty far away from where I live. And this girl recognized me. And then she even proceeded to show me her phone and said that she was following me, and she had been following me for several months. This was like a long time after the video had gone viral. So it goes to, like, people still remembered the video, even though it had been months and months and months since I'd posted. And it's just like, they don't forget, you know? I genuinely thought people would forget about it after a day or two or a week. But no, it just kept going on even months later. I also had a feeling that teachers knew about it. I'm not sure about this, but I think teachers stalk their that sounds creepy. I think teachers are aware of their students' presence online to some extent. I don't know, it certainly felt like that to me. Oh, and just a funny story. Literally this year, I went into class. This was like early, like when grade 12 was starting. And I walked across this group of kids, and one of them followed me into my classroom, and then he just stared at me, and then he like swiveled his head and looked back at his friends, and then he looked back at me, and he yelled, "TikTok girl," and he just stared at me for a sec, and then he ran out again. I didn't know how to react. Like, how do you react to that? What do you say? What do you do in that situation? I genuinely, oh my goodness. Yeah, this was this year. So, like, that just goes to show, like, people don't care. I think people don't care about things, but they definitely don't forget. Like, this is stuff, like, if it happens in your school, like, people are not going to forget until, well, they're not going to forget, period, you know? They don't care. People definitely don't care. And that helped me get over it a lot, like, realizing, like, okay, people don't care about this nearly as much as I did, but you know, they do remember it. What did all of this make me do? How did I react to all of this attention? And why did I feel awful? Sorry, I'm using notes down here to keep track of what I'm saying, because otherwise I'm like, otherwise I'm gonna forget exactly what I'm saying. Also, I'm sorry if I haven't been speaking into the microphone very well, because some of you might be listening to this on Spotify. Oh, by the way, guys, the business side of what happened, so I'm not going over that in this video. I'm gonna post the business side of what happened on Losing to Grow. So basically, how did this completely change my perception on business, and what did I gain? Like, I've been approached by established companies, brands, magazines after this video, and after a few other videos that I posted that gained some traction. So yeah, like, there's a lot of business stuff involved in this as well. So if you want to learn more about why that happened and how I went from being a silly 16-year-old creating random videos about her procrastinating and watching Squid Game to someone who now is taking business a little more seriously, you guys should check out Losing to Grow. It is our new podcast, which goes over social media tips and business and entrepreneurship and how TikTok helped me plunge into that world. Okay, back to the video. So, as a result of all of this, my social anxiety flared. I started to avoid people. I began to keep my hoodie up, and I was trying my best to hide my faces from people in the hallways. I also started to confine myself to this one room, which was actually how I ended up making friends. I would just kind of sit down and have lunch over there. I was eating alone, and I felt super, like, I have to remind you guys, like, before the video blew up, I was in this phase of my life where I genuinely did not give an F. I was just living life, and I wish I could go back to that time, because that was literally my golden era. Yeah, but anyways, I was like really trying to just stay in one room, and I was hiding my face because I genuinely didn't want people talking about the video. Oh, that reminds me. It got so bad and how it was affecting my academic life was, like, I remember I was walking into my test. This was the first test I had ever had. This was like a bio test. And I came in and I was sitting down, and the whole class was staring at me, or pretty much everyone. And this girl, she kind of looks me up and down, and she's like, weren't you on my For You page last night? And then she proceeds to open the video and show it to me, like, 5 minutes before our test. And now I'm panicking, and I start putting my hoodie up. I put my hoodie up, and I'm like, please shut up, please stop talking. She said this to me like 5 minutes before, and then she proceeded to, like, show me that she had seen my follower count go up. And I'm like, she was like, oh yeah, you were at like 5K a few days ago, and now you're at like 30K. And I'm just like, how do you guys know this? Why are you checking my account again and again? I genuinely, like, at the time I didn't understand. I stalked people too. It's not like I'm not used to this. I've definitely stalked people in the past, but it just felt weird when people were doing the same thing to me. Yeah. And anyway, so because this was like 5 minutes before a test, then during the test I was now panicking, and I couldn't concentrate on the test because I was thinking about TikTok. And it was awful, you know? Like, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be here taking my bio test in peace when this is happening. The reason why this caused my anxiety to flare up a lot was because growing up, believe it or not, I was actually a pretty quiet kid. Yeah, I don't like saying nerdy because I wasn't nerdy. I used to not submit my assignments very well at that time. I was just I was Asian, right? And I grew up in a household where academics were prioritized, so naturally I had my head up in the books, and I was generally more quiet and introverted when I was younger. It wasn't until grade 11 that true extroverted side of me came out. I was super quiet in my old school, and I hated drama. Like, I avoided drama like it was a plague. And this is why I generally wouldn't talk to people very much. In fact, I remember my friend, who was also very introverted, telling me about these girls in my school who were saying that I was very quiet, and as a result, they thought I was judging them and that I was being rude. I'm just like, how do people get this perception of you? Like, how do people draw these conclusions from somebody's silence? Like, how can you say that I'm being rude when I haven't said anything to you? I don't know, it was very weird. My point is that I was really quiet when I was younger, so this was super out of character for me. The fact that this video was blowing up, the fact that everybody knew about it, and that there were people approaching me in school was very weird, very foreign, and I just didn't know how to react and respond to that very well. So as a result, I didn't know if I should, like, talk to people and act like super chill about it, or if I should pretend that the video didn't happen. I didn't want to come up as like this stuck-up snob who was just constantly talking about her views and social media platform, but at the same time I didn't want to like pretend that it didn't happen, because it did happen, you know? And I was honestly like, it was a dumb, silly little vlog. I didn't even upload like a dance or something. I didn't even show my face fully in it, you know? That's the thing that really irks me. It's like I was wearing a mask the entire time, and I deliberately took those types of shots that didn't reveal my face, and yet people still could find out and could tell that it was me. They could easily like pinpoint me in school, which makes sense, but it was it was a lot. So what's interesting is before this video, another video had actually blown up of mine, and not blown up, but it had gotten around 700, 800,000 views on TikTok, which is quite a lot of views, right? But this was during the summer. And so back then, only like 2 people had found out about the video, and they were both distant friends, like co-workers. One of them was a co-worker, and I saw her like once a month. So it really didn't make a difference to me, because no one who was very, very close to me in my life, or who knew me, or who saw me on a daily basis, had seen my videos before, right? No one knew about my account. So to me, it was still a secret account, and I intended to keep it that way until it blew up right in my face. Another thing is that my brain just never comprehended these numbers. Like, to me, they were always numbers. 700,000, 800,000 views. Wow, that's cool. But they were views, not people. It just didn't register in my mind that these were actual people watching me, because I never had to interact with those people in person until I got to school. That's when things got really weird. Like, oh my goodness, these are actually people. And then when I started like realizing how many people had seen that video, it started to dawn on me. 1,600,000 something people just saw your video. That's a lot. That is a lot. Like, I can't even imagine 100 people in a room, yet alone that number. That's crazy, right? And that was just the beginning of social media. When I was not comfortable with it, and I was still pushing myself out of my comfort zone in order to get these videos up. It was weird. So as a result, I felt really overwhelmed, and again, the constant influx of notifications and messages and emails, it was overstimulating, quite frankly. So yeah, that was not fun. Even though I met some really amazing people who were super friendly and very, very supportive about it, we tend to focus on the negative a lot more, unfortunately, and that's kind of what I was doing at the time. So yeah, I felt really uncomfortable. So now I'm going to talk about the toll that this had on my friendships and relationships in real life. So this is actually a little embarrassing, but I was a bit of a loner before this. Up until around my senior years, I had never really found true contentment and satisfaction in my friendships before I had moved to schools. My old school was a very toxic place, and that's the reason why I didn't want to talk to people, because, like, no offense, but it was a really awful place, and I don't like indulging in gossip. I don't like talking shit about people behind their backs or in front of them, because there's a lot, like, honestly, there's so much else that you can be talking about in real life. There's so much more to life than just talking about people, I'm not saying that I don't indulge in gossip at all, or that I've never done that, because let's be honest, we all have. I have, but I just, my life priorities were just so much different, and that's why I found that environment really, really toxic. That being said, this was actually the first time I genuinely found true contentment in my life, in my friendships, in my female friendships. It was like the first time I experienced what it was like to have friends, and I loved it. I loved it a lot, but it kind of started getting a little bit murky when people began to associate the term influencer with me. Oh boy. So this is when people jokingly started calling me an influencer in school. And it was funny. Like, the first time somebody called me this, I started laughing hysterically, because it was just so funny to me that somebody would call me that. But then later on, it kind of ended up coming across as less of a joke and more of a backhanded compliment. And I suddenly found it a little bit more difficult to relate to people and to connect with people. I don't know why. I'm thinking that people saw me as this stuck-up, obnoxious kid who made TikToks, and that was the main priority in my... I don't know what it was. I hope that's not it, but if it was, then that's a little sad. In my video, I had been talking about procrastinating, watching Squid Game, and basically doing nothing the entire day, and how I'd been late for school. And for some reason, that really resonated with people, because it was relatable, and it was something that they just could, relate to, and it didn't make them feel bad about themselves. I think that's the reason why the video blew up. But now it's like the kids in my school were kind of associating me with this influencer term, and I didn't like it at all. I always felt like I was, not always, but sometimes I felt like I was being left out of conversations deliberately. And later on, I bought AirPod Maxes and I started wearing them in school. I didn't buy them because I'm excessively rich, and I also didn't buy them because I'm really stupid with my money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can be stupid, horrendously stupid with my money sometimes, but it's not like I wasted all of my life savings on these either. I had a lot of gift cards saved up for Amazon from volunteering, which I'd been doing in school as an extracurricular, and so I used that money towards buying AirPod Maxes. And after that, I just kind of felt like a disconnection from my peers. I wasn't trying to show off to people. I wasn't trying to say, hey, look at me, I'm an influencer and I'm rich. I was just trying to show my ups and downs in life because this is a video diary to me. I have a very selfish reason to want to be honest with all the content that I'm putting up, and that's because this entire profile, social media, is my time capsule. I want to look back at this 10 years from now, and I want to see my life exactly for what it was, not some exaggerated, over embellished version of it. So that's why I take this very seriously, and when I post content online, I am not trying to show off or try to prove to you that I'm better than you in any way. That's not my goal. That's not my intention. The reason why I was a little bit frustrated by this whole influencer concept that people had derived from my page was because before I started posting TikToks, I was actually a film student. I was a film student for 2 years at my old school, and I absolutely fell in love with film. A lot of people don't know what film actually entails. It's not just going on screen and acting and saying a bunch of words. It's not just creating vlogs. A lot of time and effort goes into these vlogs. A lot of planning goes into these vlogs, and it mirrors what I learned in film class. So I think a lot about shots and shot sequences. I have really specific hooks that I use for my videos. I spend a lot of time planning that, right? The idea here is telling a story. So even though my films, my videos might not look like a typical film project or something that a film student would post per se, they are still an adaptation of what I learned in film. And the reason why I'm not creating cinematic content right now is just because I don't have time and I don't have the appropriate equipment because I'm doing IB, right? My point is that the reason why I create content on social media isn't because of the money. It's because I genuinely love creating videos, creating film videos, and this gives me the opportunity to do that. It gives me the opportunity to hone my editing skills while still managing school at the same time, right? I'm not able to fully delve into it yet because I'm not done with school, but this is like a very big creative outlet for me. So I find it very annoying when people reduce all of this to simply being an influencer or a content creator. I guess the term content creator is okay now, but even that is like it just completely ignores everything else that goes into it. Like, it doesn't recognize the fact that this is film and that this is creativity, and it's another form of art. It's another form of storytelling. And also, instead of writing in my diaries like I would do, I'd come home every day and I would write in my diaries. Instead of doing that, I now record everything and then I put it together and use what I learned in film class to tell a story and convey my day and what I want, whether it's a message or it's just telling what happened during my day. No matter what it is, I always use film to convey that. And to me, again, it's very much an artistic outlet. Emphasis on outlet, because this really, really helped me with my mental health, and that's why I wasn't ready to give it up. Despite my TikTok blowing up, despite not liking the attention from it blowing up, I still stuck with it. I didn't delete my account, even though I wanted to. I wanted to delete my account so badly, by the way. I was definitely considering doing it. It kind of got that bad. Again, a lot of it was internal. A lot of it was just me. I genuinely just I was overthinking a lot. You know what? I've been too nice, so I'm gonna just say it. Some people were really shitty. Some people had so much attitude towards me in school. It is ridiculous. I've never experienced that in school because, first of all, I've had enough self-respect for myself to know better than that, to know better than to associate with people like that. And so, yeah, I never experienced that when I was younger. When after the TikTok video, though, people thought it was okay to treat someone differently based off of the amount of followers they had. And I find that so hilarious, because it's like, most people don't want to treat people differently based off of the amount of followers they have, and yet that is exactly what they were doing. I was getting these snarky comments and this attitude from people, these little cliques, for literally posting a TikTok that ended up getting views. I am not responsible for your insecurities. You are. And trust me, this problem is way bigger than me. It does not just have to deal with me, because you're going to meet people in life who are going to have more than you and less than you. There are going to be people who have better skills than you and people who do not. You have to accept that, and you have to learn to deal with it instead of being rude to people for no reason. So while a lot of people were wonderful, and I was really appreciative of them, other people sucked. And as a result, this year I've distanced myself from so many people, because I don't have time, or quite frankly the brain capacity, for all of this negative energy. Energy does not lie. Their facial expressions and their words would say one thing, but their energy and the vibes that I was getting from them would say the total opposite. And I ran faster than you could blink, because I was not staying there. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I made it abundantly clear that that's not my purpose. I never once indulged in the success and the followers and whatever, and I'm going to stand my ground on that. Mainly, it was people that made the experience so awful for me. It comes out in people's attitude, it comes out in their interactions. It just felt so fake, and I felt like I was back in my old school again. I left my old school to escape all of this shit, only for it to start happening again. Then I changed my niche as well. Right now I'm doing health and wellness content, and I love that. My views dropped in the beginning because the transition, obviously when you're changing your niche and you go from making vlogs and entertaining content to more inspirational content, people are going to unfollow. People are not going to be happy with it, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. But eventually my page started kicking up again as I started focusing more on health and studying and lifestyle. I get that our environment is competitive, but you guys are the ones that are making it worse and competitive. If you cannot handle my page on social media, then unfollow me, but stop making my days at school more stressful, because nobody needs that shit after a hard day of studying. Like, that's the last thing that I need. Since then, I've definitely made my circle a lot smaller, a lot closer, and I love that. I think everybody's doing that, honestly. Everybody starts doing it in grade 12, but I had to emphasize on that a little bit more because of all the stuff happening. I guess I'm just gonna wrap it all up now. What did this teach me? I have come to the conclusion that no matter what you do, people will always have something to say. I kid you not. Like, if you're quiet, people will think that you're judging them and that you're being rude. But on the flip side, when I became more extroverted and became more talkative in class, all of a sudden, I was branded as noisy, confused in terms of academics. I was no longer known as the smart, quiet girl, which is fine by me, but it did change. Like, the people's perception of me significantly did change. It's like they associate being quiet and wearing your hair up and wearing glasses with being smart, and I find that so hilarious. People will never be satisfied, and they will always have something to say, and they don't forget things, but they don't care either, right? So what a lot of people have been saying on the internet about how you shouldn't care because nobody cares at the end of the day, I think that is true. There's truth to it. You can never really get over that in experience. Like, if you want my honest experience with this entire situation, and ever since this happened, I can tell you, quite frankly, that you never truly get over that. There's always going to be someone that is going to say something, and hate comments always suck. There's a reason why people like Taylor Swift have their comments off on their Instagram and on their overall social media pages. Thankfully, I didn't experience a lot of it, right? For me, most of the stuff actually came from school. What's funny is I found that strangers were often kinder than acquaintances or people that you just know of or come into contact with every single day in school. I feel really good now. I'm pretty confident in terms of social media. I'm literally starting a podcast just dedicated to social media. So I think that goes to say I do love social media overall. yeah, what happened with TikTok? TikTok itself is so toxic at times, and then also all of the toxicity that followed and the events sucked, but there were also pros, which, as I mentioned, have something to do with business. If you guys want to check out part 2 of this podcast, the benefits of it, the business side, then check out Losing to Grow down below. The second thing I've learned is the importance of privacy and not putting myself out there as much. I mean, to be fair, I've always been pretty conscientious of what I put out there. I haven't thankfully done too many stupid things on social media, and I'm very open generally. I like sharing fun events in my life, and I think there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're being safe, as long as you're keeping your health in check. I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing bits and pieces of your life on the internet. Again, that's emphasis on that. I only share bits and pieces of my life. Not everything goes up there. Not everything can go up there, you know? I do love that I'm able to maintain my privacy while simultaneously sharing parts of me that I want to share with my audience and being able to build an audience my age through that. I mean, the amount of friends that I have made through social media is insane. Like, real friends that I now talk to in person or talk to online if they don't live nearby. It's amazing. Truly, it's amazing what social media can do. You can connect with so many people, and that's why I love it, right? Again, just some of these experiences, not that great, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to be judgmental or hateful or jealous or spiteful in any way, right? And then the final thing I learned is that I don't like attention nearly as much as I thought I would. And that sounds very contradictory to what I do, considering I'm posting online for attention and whatnot. But truthfully, I don't like being the center of attention. Like, I don't want all eyes on me. I also love the fact that I changed my niche. I'm so excited to keep posting content that I genuinely believe makes even a tiny difference in people's lives. Again, I'm posting it because other people made a difference in my life. Like, the reason why I started practicing so many healthy habits is because I saw it online. I saw another girl doing it. Not just that girl trend, but seeing other women doing it, empowering people online is so freaking inspiring. I kid you not. And as a result, I started implementing a lot of these habits in my life too. So now I hope that somebody else can implement a tiny bit of these changes in their life, because it truly saved my mental health. I am in such a better place compared to what I went through 3 years ago. And then during this time, like it's true. You can heal, and things can get better, and I'm really grateful that I have had a solid journey towards healing, and I still am healing, and yeah. So overall, hot take, going viral isn't as jazzy as it sounds all the time. That's not to say that you don't want to go viral, especially if you own a business or you have other incentives for going viral. Like, sure, I mean, that'd be great, but just remember that going viral isn't always what you want. And I've come to learn, like, you know how my TikTok blew up so fast? I didn't appreciate hitting 10K on TikTok as much as I appreciated it on Instagram, because it took me so long to get to that point. And sometimes I feel like when it takes you longer, and when you put more effort into something, and when you truly nurture it, and then it shows you the results and the success, then it feels so much better. And the feeling of satisfaction is so much greater. So I definitely think we can all learn from this. Okay, so stay tuned for part 2, which is coming on Losing to Grow. Make sure you guys subscribe to Losing to Grow down below. Otherwise, you're not going to hear about us ever again on the internet. And yeah, I will see you in that next time. And then hopefully I'll be posting some vlogs and some more podcast apps after this.